Yo, what is going on? I appreciate everybody who tuning into this live. And we're gonna talk a little bit about some lawyery stuff, give y'all a little bit of breakdown on this lawsuit that's going on that's involving super comedian Kevin Hart and super content creator Tasha K. I guess I would call her a super content creator. So we're gonna dive in and talk about what's going on, the legalities of it, but we're also gonna talk about some nuances. Y'all know if I talk about something legal, there's always some things that I see and I'm just like, how does that make sense? So we're definitely going to break that down. If you're new to the channel, I'm Marcus, the debt-free dad, where we talk finance, attorney reactions, a gamut of topics that we discussed. I'm a licensed attorney in several jurisdictions. I've been in the game for a minute, but none of that amounts to me being your counsel. So if you need a professional attorney, finance guy, seek a professional in your area, someone who has a fiduciary duty not to finesse you out of a bag and look out for your best interest. Now, let's dive into this. If y'all aren't familiar with, I think everybody knows who Kevin Hart is. I like to say that I'm proud because I seen Kevin Hart back before when he was performing at HBCUs before he blew up. And I was like, you know what? That brother's talented. So I've been on the Kevin Hart before he even got kind of big in the game, so to speak. Now, we all know who Kevin Hart is. You probably know who Tasha K is, but if you don't, she is a content creator. She has, I think it's called Unwind with Tasha K is her YouTube channel that she has. And hey, I'm going to give her credit. She is actually entertaining as hell. I'm not even talking about her content. I'm just talking about, like, everybody on YouTube say the same shit. That's just kind of what it is. Like, if you listen to me do a finance video, you listen to somebody else do a finance video, there's only so many times that we can talk about compound interest. You know what I mean? There's only so many times that somebody could go through the breakdown of this case. But you watch that stuff for people personality that's like, okay, yeah, this person is entertaining. She is actually a very entertaining content creator. Now, the question is, hey, she got a lot of litigation, a lot of lawsuits going on the legal side of the game. Let's see. Cardi B, I think, was number one, and Cardi B got a judgment against her. After Cardi B, I actually did a video where R. Kelly was talking about litigation for her disclosing his private information, especially as related to his defense and conversations with his attorney that he made while he was incarcerated. Then, of course, we had Will Smith and Jada Pinkett and Will Smith's so-called assistant who just came out talking a bunch of nonsense. And Jada said that they are going to look at a legal remedy. And now we have Kevin Hart. So I tell you, we're going to dive into the complaint. I actually didn't like, I'm just be honest with y'all. The first time I read this complaint is going to be when we actually go over it. But I am going to give y'all the breakdown. I want y'all to kind of know how this all started. So let's go ahead. We got a short snippet of Tasha K video. I'm not going to put the whole thing in. I'll probably put the link up in the comments. So if y'all want to check it out, y'all can. And, I don't know if I put her whole video in there. You know how YouTube would be like, we're going to demonetize this. So, but I will put a snippet of the video up here so y'all can see what is going on in the game, okay? Now, hey, that picture right there, you already know what it is when you see IG model. You see a Venn diagram. It's like IG model, wife. So we already know that there's some crazy allegations. But just off of this, because I'll tell you right now, anytime there's a case going on and it's something crazy with an IG model, I don't know about y'all, but hey, in order for me to do my due diligence, I need to go look at the IG model just so I can see what all the fuss is about. So as I look at IG model spouse, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just like a certain type of face. But hey, I'm gonna give the nod to the wife, okay? Like, just far as looks, appearance, one looks a little bit manufactured, the other one looks a little wholesome. But hey, that's just me. I'm kind of a goofball, and I don't know. My view of attractiveness is probably a little bit different from most people. But hey, I'm gonna give the nod to Mrs. Hart on this one. But let's pull it back a little bit. Watch a little bit of the beginning of this video, okay? Now, we have Kevin Hart ex-assistant having a conversation with Tasha K, and this is how the extortion and the defamation and all of the things that we're going to talk about in the lawsuit came into fruition. Let's go ahead. Let's look at a little bit of it. Just a snippet. I'll put the link. Let me do that now. Because if I don't, your boy getting up there, I might forget. All right, we're going to go and throw that in there. So if y'all wanted to check out the whole thing.
Hart.
Yes.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Eniko Hart.
Eniko Hart.
What made you reach out?
It is a time for Hollywood to hear this story, especially because a lot of people are locked in non-disclosures and they're not able to talk and protect themselves.
It's a lot. It's time for people to hear this story because a lot of people can't talk and are locked into non-disclosures. Apparently, you are, according to Kevin Hart. But let's continue.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to protect the person you're working for. Where's your protection?
When did
you have to protect the person you're working for? Where's your protection? I'm sure if she signed an NDA, she probably got a nice little severance package stashed away.
Things started to turn up around there.
The extortionist. I'm listening to Mario on the radio in the morning. I almost crashed my car because I heard him say that Kevin's best friend, JT Jackson, Kevin.
They redug up, I guess, old LGBTQ jokes or something.
Correct.
That he was saying on Twitter, and they wanted him to apologize, and he said, "Fuck you."
Haley is his publicist, so she called me. She was just like, "Hey, Miesha, have you spoken to Kevin?" I was like, "No." And then she was like, "The whole Oscar thing, Kevin needs to say it."
Fake.
Correct.
The one in Vegas.
Yes.
So these other scandals.
It's another one in the office.
She pregnant again.
Correct.
All right. So we get the meat and potatoes of what this is about. It's about IG model, wife, somebody who is purportedly under a non-disclosure agreement, and they out here flapping their gums on Tasha K's show. So let's go ahead and dive into it. I'm gonna get the complaint pulled up. You should be able to have like more than one thing on deck. But let's go ahead and get this complaint pulled up so we can dive in. Remember, your boy didn't read this complaint, so so when we go through it, what y'all see is gonna be we're gonna get the information at the same time. Because I did read, articles on it, but I didn't actually read this complaint. So we're gonna get this information at the same time. All right, Superior Court in Los Angeles County. This is state litigation, this civil litigation. I will tell you that extortion is a crime in California. It's a state-specific crime. And I'm just going to tell y'all that I think Kevin Hart went about this the wrong way. Let me pull up that statute real quick so I can have it right in my back pocket when we need to get it. Okay, got it. All right, so now let's get back to this. Complaint. Okay, so Kevin Hart, K Hart Enterprises, all of his corporations, Heartbeat, LOL, probably all thrown up in there. Miesha Shakes, that's the assistant who is purportedly violating the non-disclosure agreement by going on Latasha, Transrena Kebe, aka Tasha K. And they got Kebe Studios, LLC. They got all that stuff up in there, but that's the beef. Now, y'all know when these complaints come on, these things be kind of long. So your boy, we gonna always hit the skim through because I don't want to hold everybody in here completely hostage as we go through this long ass complaint. Parties: Kevin Hart, comedian, CEO of Kevin Hart Entertainment, California-based company, blah blah blah. Plaintiffs are informed and believed and based thereon alleged that at all times mentioned, defendant Miesha Shakes was an individual residing and doing business in Los Angeles County, California, beginning in or around August 2017 and continuing through October of 2020. Shakes was employed with Heartbeat Productions, Kevin Hart Entertainment predecessor entity, blah, blah, blah. All right. Then they got every call of Tasha K's information in there. Keep in mind, from a money standpoint, the Cardi B judgment is out there. If every celebrity who said they was going to file a litigation all file it simultaneously, Yo, that shit is going to be expensive as hell. R. Kelly was talking about litigation. Jada Pinkett was talking about litigation. And Kevin Hart, hey, his team moved fast as hell on this, which is actually pretty impressive. All right, we're going to scroll down. We don't need to get the jurisdiction and venue. Facts common. Let's see how it's breaking down. Okay, all right. So yeah, we ain't got that much to read. We ain't got to go all deep into the jurisdiction. It's filed in the right place in the right court. Facts common to all causes of action. During the course of her employment with Hart and Heartbeat, Shakes served as Hart's personal assistant. In said capacity, Shakes was privy to certain confidential business and personal information regarding Hart, his family, friends, and associates. Various Heartbeat personnel. Hold on. Just one second. You know what? Let me move this screen over. I'm trying to make this a little bit easier visually. I got a couple screens going over, so let's move that over there. So that way I ain't got to keep. All right. This will work perfect. All right, there you go. That's perfect. All right. All right. As a result, Shakes appeared to be in a position to disseminate or confirm allegations about those persons, entities, regardless of their truth or falsity. That's actually important that he said regardless of their truth or falsity, because when I read the article, he has a claim for defamation and he has a claim for essentially public disclosure of private facts. That was a claim that I talked about recently when I did the video on whatever the NBA guy is who paid the girl $100K to have an abortion. So, but those two things kind of conflict. So I'm really a little bit confused about that. But upon Shakes entering her employment relationship with Heartbeat, Shakes and Heartbeat entered into a certain confidentiality agreement dated August 8th, 2017. The confidentiality agreement, a true and correct copy of the confidentiality agreement, is attached hereto as Exhibit A. Now, one thing we got to know about confidentiality agreements, most times, not all the time, but a lot of times when confidentiality agreements are signed on the front end of employment, a lot of times they don't hold up in court because the agreement doesn't have everything it needs to be a valid contract. So the best confidentiality clause what I recommend doing is have someone sign a confidentiality clause on the front end. Chances are, depending on how it's written, how it's done, that may not pass legal scrutiny as a valid contract. But upon that person's termination or moving to a new job, you have them sign a new confidentiality agreement. And in exchange for them signing it, you'll give them a severance packet. Because you're giving them a severance packet, you're giving them something, and they are giving up their right to disclose information. You have that consideration, this for that. You have that, I'm giving up this in exchange for you to do this. That is the piece that's missing on the front end. On the front end, like the person already got the job, you're giving them a confidentiality agreement, you need to sign this. What are they getting in exchange for signing that? Especially if they already got the job. Like, depending on how it's written, a lot of times courts will find a confidentiality agreement that's on the front end of employment not contractually valid. That's why you'll see people do it on the front end if they were smart, and do it on the back end and give them a nice little severance, some money, some benefits, whatever it is, and that'll clean everything up. All right, the confidentiality agreement defines confidential information to include the following. This is important because he's saying that she's disclosing a private fact related to an IG model. And when we get to the details, I explain what was alleged, because this complaint kind of didn't really explain it in detail. I don't think. We'll see as we get through it. Matters concerning the business, operation, business ideas, know-how, techniques, methodologies, and business relationships of any of the protected parties, with protected parties defined to include Heartbeat's owner, its officers, directors, shareholders, clients, family, friends, associate, contractees, including but not limited to affiliated entities of owner. Okay, in that definition, confidential information, just on that definition alone, as I read that, that doesn't include potential of an IG model. Like, we're going to define confidential information as matters concerning business operations, business ideas, know-how, techniques, methodologies, and business relationships of any of the protected parties. I don't know if I don't know if that's included in my personal opinion, but they may be cleaning up, so let's get down to the bottom part. The confidentiality agreement further provides that Sheikh expressly agrees that recipients shall not directly or indirectly, verbally or otherwise, okay, they might have cleaned it up here, publish, disseminate, disclose, or cause to be published, disseminated, or disclose any confidential information to any person, firm, or entity whatsoever. I don't think that cleaned it up. Like, I would have said any confidential information, and you could put this in the contract. Any confidential information, we already know the definition of confidential information that we read. It didn't include IG model clappage, okay, in my personal opinion. So I would have expressly wrote to include personal information that may have a tendency to dilute the brand of blah, blah, blah. You could write it all in there, but I would have had that shit expressly in the confidentiality agreement. But it doesn't look like that was in there. And based on that definition, I don't know if IG model clappage is in there based on how I'm reading that. On or around October 22nd, 2020, Sheikh's, I hate, why do they write like this? Oh my God. Sheikh's on the one hand and Hart on behalf of himself, Heartbeats and all other Hart affiliated companies on the other hand. That is annoying me. Sheikh's and Hart on behalf of himself, you can take on the other hand out. Heartbeat and all other Hart affiliated companies entered into that certain mutual release and non-disclosure agreement dated October 22nd, 2020, the NDA. A true and correct copy of the NDA is attached as Exhibit B. Okay, so this attorney, I'm going to give him credit here. I got to give him credit. They're doing exactly what they should do. They had her sign an NDA in 2017 when she started the job. She started working there in October 2020. They had her sign a new NDA agreement, and it looks like that they're going to give her what's called consideration. In order for a contract to be valid, it has to be an offer, has to be accepted by a party, and it has to be consideration. What the hell is consideration? Consideration is both parties are giving up something. I'm giving you money, a severance package, in exchange for you giving up your rights to disclose any information that you may have found out during the course of your employment, which could be a business thing, or if they would have wrote it, how I would have wrote it, or personal information that could have a tendency to dilute the brand of Kevin Hart LLC, whatever it is you want to call it. All right, so hey, kudos to the attorney here. When I see good lawyering, I'm going to go ahead and clap it up. They did the NDA on the front end. Courts challenged those, and a lot of times they aren't valid contracts. When she left the job, they did a new NDA agreement, and I guarantee you this is where they're going to offer something to get that legal consideration to make that a valid contract. The NDA called for Hart to pay Sheikh's $30,000 per year for a period of 3 years, along with other consideration. They use the word consideration to make sure courts know, yo, this is the consideration, so this is a valid contract. All right, now let's see how the second NDA defines confidential information, because the first one, as we read it, the first NDA, it didn't include IG model clappage, in my legal opinion. The NDA number 2, defines confidential information the following: private and confidential information which is not generally known to the public, okay, I like that, or readily ascertainable by proper means by others, and is subject to reasonable efforts to maintain, that's good writing, good lawyering, and is subject, let's start that up. Private and confidential information which is not generally known to the public, check, or readily ascertainable by proper means by others, check, and is subject to reasonable efforts to maintain its secrecy pertaining to any of the following protected parties: Kevin Hart, affiliated companies, officers, directors, family, friends, past, present, future. That was dope. And their affiliated entities, including officers, directors, and executives. All right, I think this second NDA is more on point. Like, I think the second NDA, hey, you can't disclose alleged IG models happen. Not saying he did it, but that's the allegation that's going on. All right, the NDA further provides that Shakes shall not directly or indirectly disclose, exploit, or disseminate confidential information to any person or entity whatsoever, including but not limited to friends, family members, key journalists, tabloids, television, radio, websites, excuse me, social media, or threaten to do so. Shakes therefore has a duty to preserve confidential information, both defined in the confidentiality agreement and in the NDA is confidential. The NDA included attorney fees clause providing the following in any proceeding arising out or related to this agreement. Oh, she's going to be broke as hell if she loses. They're going to be responsible for reasonable attorney fees, costs, and expenses incurred. And I know his lawyers is charging a bag because I would charge a bag. But, hey, so we had confidentiality agreement A, which was the agreement that was signed at the beginning of her employment. Probably wouldn't pass legal definition of a contract, in my opinion. On the back end, when she left, they signed NDA, non-disclosure agreement. And based on what we read, that NDA had a lot of flexible language in it. It included pretty much anything, confidential information, anything not known to the public. Well, if allegedly he was IG model, that wouldn't be known to the public, so it meets that test. It's not reasonable ascertained by proper means, and the subject is using reasonable efforts to maintain secrecy to any of the following protected parties. And that second one definitely includes alleged IG model clapping. So shout out to the attorneys who came due and did that the right way. NDA included attorney fees. Okay. In or around November 23rd, Tasha K conducted and recorded an interview, hereinafter is called The Interview, with Shakes, where Shakes made various statements regarding Hart, his family, Heartbeat personnel, and or employees of other Hart-affiliated entities, notwithstanding the truth or falsity of such statement. Again, him writing it that way, truth or falsity, is key. We're going to talk about it when we get into the complaints, especially the defamation and the public disclosure of private facts, because those are two allegations and two civil remedies that are in competition with each other, and I'm going to break that down when we get there. Such information necessarily would have been constituted confidential information as defined by the NDA, such as information regarding alleged personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel at Hart-affiliated companies, and subjects such as Hart interactions with his family member. The interview also included fake and defamatory statements regarding Hart and certain legal disputes in which he had been involved. During the interview, Tasha K and Shakes, whether she was subject to any non-disclosure agreement which would have prohibited her from disclosing the type of information that was subject of the interview, Shakes acknowledged that she and plaintiffs were in fact party to an NDA, but claimed that the agreement had unspecified loopholes that she apparently contended would enable her to escape consequences of her brazenly violating her promise to plaintiffs and the NDA and confidentiality agreement terms. So, I don't know if she talked to a lawyer. I don't know if she just read the contract and the NDA and the confidentiality agreement and thought like, okay, it's some loopholes I can get out. I haven't read it yet. It's a part of it. I'm probably going to skim through it when we get to the end of this. But Shakes, the executive assistant, is of the belief that, hey, there's a loophole where she can finesse her way out of any damages. Because remember, she's on the hook for all attorney fees plus whatever damages they're going to allege in this complaint. And if you're getting $30,000 a year severance, one, I would like to know what her actual salary was while she was working there. And I would like to know what Tasha K actually paid her for the interview. Because I know damn well she didn't do it. Oh, I just want to get the truth out of here. That's not how stuff like this work. Like, if you get $30K a year, you get $90,000 over a 3-year period. I need to know what Tasha K paid up front for this. And that video that I put the link to, it only had that clip. It had, I think, 120,000 views or something to that effect. So I'm interested to know how much of the bag that she gave out in order to get this interview. All right, in or around November 23rd, an unidentified individual telephone, and this is where we get into the extortion. Remember, this is civil. This is not criminal. If it were me, I would have went about it a little bit different. I'll talk to you after we get to this part. But let's go and read the facts that Kevin Hart purports to support the extortion cause of action. In or around November 23rd, an unidentified individual telephoned a Hart representative stating that the individual was affiliated with Tasha K, and Tasha K had conducted the interview with Shakes, and that the interview included information or allegations that the Tasha K representative claimed would be damaging to Hart's reputation. The individual stated that Kebe would publish the interview unless Hart paid a ransom of $250,000. Okay. Now, again, these are allegations. We don't know if this is true or not. But when I read this on the face, this person contacted them prior to the interview actually being released. So just on that information right there, the fact that they knew this interview was being conducted with Tasha K and the assistant Shakes, they had some type of inside knowledge. We don't know if it came from Tasha K, if it was just an off-the-wall friend who had knowledge of it, but somebody clearly knew that this shit was recorded beforehand to make this, because she hadn't even put it out yet. So now, how close of it? Like, hey, I would like to think that in this day and age, people are smart enough to where, again, these are allegations against Tasha K. But if I were inclined to do extortion, I damn sure wouldn't use nobody who's directly tied to me. So we'll see. And trust me, that is not going to be hard to get to the bottom of who it is who contacted them. It's actually easy to find out. On or around November 17th, Tasha K posted a teaser for an interview on YouTube where she, along with Shakes, touted the supposedly salacious and damaging nature of the interview. The teaser video was clearly intended to threaten Hart that the more detailed interview would be published if the ransom was not paid. The teaser included a statement from Tasha K at the 2:06 mark in the video, specifically warning that when you don't pay, we have to get money by any means necessary. Oh, he quoting stuff in the video. Good. From a legal standpoint, Hart and his representatives contacted the police and did not pay the ransom that Kebe was demanding. On or around November 27, Hart's attorney, Dante Mills, wrote Tasha K demanding they always going to give the cease and desist order. I would just be honest. If I had a bag like Kevin Hart, I ain't writing no cease and desist order. I'm just going to file some shit against you. I wouldn't write a cease and desist to Tasha K, because I seen how the Cardi B thing went down. A cease and desist order was written. Nobody gave two rat's asses about it. So nobody gonna give a crap about your cease and desist order. So hey, I'm cutting out the middleman. If I had a bag like that, I would jump straight to litigation. Damn the cease and desist order. But some people, you write a cease and desist order, they delete that shit ASAP. But other people aren't gonna give a damn. And I like to think that Tasha K is one of the people who probably won't give a damn. I feel like she had a lot of cease and desist orders in her day that she probably didn't give two craps about. All right. The cease and desist order was issued. A true copy of the cease and desist letter is attached as Exhibit C. So Exhibit A is the non-disclosure agreement signed before Shakes started working. Exhibit B is the NDA that she signed at the conclusion, where Kevin Hart agreed to pay her $90,000 over a 3-year period plus benefits. And Exhibit C is the cease and desist order that Kevin Hart's attorney sent to Tasha K, and he contacted law enforcement about his activities. Now let's talk about this a little bit. Let's talk about this law enforcement part, all right? Because, hey, law enforcement investigations, I know how those things go. The question is going to be asked is there a possibility that Tasha K could have some criminal exposure here? And again, these are allegations. This is just a complaint. Tasha K has to file an answer to the complaint refuting these allegations, but these are just allegations. But let's just talk about the facts that are alleged, okay? I'm going to pull up the statutory definition. I'm going to pull up the statutory definition for extortion or attempted extortion. Penal Code 524. It defines a California crime of attempted extortion, which is where an individual attempts by means of threats to extort property or money from another person. If you succeed in obtaining the property or money, then you are liable for the crime of actual extortion. Then they got some defenses. Everything has a defense. So, one, extortion is a state-specific crime in California. It matches up completely with what you need to prove it in the civil realm. Standards of proof are different, but what you need to prove a person committed attempted extortion is exactly the same as we're going to read later. But what are the legal defenses to criminal extortion in California? Okay, these are really it. And we have yet to find out. But one, you didn't threaten anyone. Hey, I didn't threaten this person. It's cap. You can say that on these facts a couple of ways. I didn't call this person to make a threat. I don't know who that individual was, but they weren't affiliated with me. The second one is you're falsely accused. So she can say, hey, somebody made that threat on their own. You can't tie that individual back to me, even though these are just allegations against her. The third one, if it was law enforcement, it would be some type of police entrapment. But, hey, we don't got all of those law enforcement things. Committing attempted extortion under California Penal Code, the district attorney can charge it as either a misdemeanor or a felony. A misdemeanor conviction or attempted extortion is punishable by imprisonment in county jail for up to 1 year. A felony conviction is punishable by a prison term of up to 3 years. So that's what alleged criminal exposure could potentially look like if this was criminal. Now, why haven't anything popped up criminally? I think everything happened too fast, okay? So I'm telling you right now, if I was in a law enforcement agency, he busts through my door, said, hey, she committed extortion and I'm going to sue her. It's so new. They file things so fast. Law enforcement aren't even going to have the time to do a preliminary investigatory efforts just to see if there's a credible allegation that a crime potentially occurred here. It's just not going to be enough time. So in this case, even though it's not how you normally would want it, the civil stuff is clearly going to fast track any criminal exposure because they just don't have enough facts. Now, if I'm an investigator sitting in that local department, I'm sitting back and watching this civil matter because I want to see how the discovery goes. Because depending on how the discovery goes, this could be something that's relatively easy depending on how the discovery goes. Because we know once people start getting hit with lawsuits and investigations, that's when everybody starts to snitch. So chances are, if someone does participate in an extortion scheme and you get a straw man, a third party to lead the extortion efforts, when their ass is under that fire, they're going to tell on you. It's probably how most of these things play themselves out. All right, let's dive back into the letter. The cease and desist letter also advised Tasha K that Hart and Shakes were party to an NDA, that Shakes' participation in the interview was a violation of the NDA, and that Tasha K's publication of the interview would constitute intentional interference with contractual relations, in addition to the various other criminal and tortious conduct that Kebe had engaged in up until that point. That's funny. And so December 22nd, Tasha K came back, was like, hey, like I assumed Daniel cease and desist order. We eat cease and desist orders for breakfast around these parts. On December 22nd, Tasha K advised Hart's representative that she would, in fact, be publishing an interview. That evening at approximately 6 p.m., Kebe published the interview on her website, Tasha K Live, specifically the link and to the podcast, charging viewers a $12 per month subscription fee in order to access and view the interview. Now, I don't know, that's funny. She charged $12 a month. Ain't nobody got nothing to say that's that important for me to charge $12 a month to see you talk about another person. Okay, like if it was like, if somebody just had a channel and they say, oh, become a member and I give you exclusive content and it's like self-help and stuff like that, I would be inclined to pay $12 a month for that. But I'm not paying $12 to see another person tell what somebody else did who's not in the room. Like, because especially if it's celebrities, that shit gonna get out anyway. So, and hey, you gotta see the name. I'm Debt Free Dad. Your boy is a little cheap over here, so it is what it is. But that's the cease and desist order. That's kind of where things are. I figured she was gonna say go to hell with it. Now into the cause of actions. We already talked about the criminal exposure for extortion, civil extortion, and you're gonna read this. It's exactly the same as criminal. If you got the facts to support a civil extortion attempt, you're probably going to have the facts to support a criminal extortion attempt. Plaintiff hereby incorporated by reference. That's all the facts we read before. California courts recognize it, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to go through all them statutes. The act of contacting an individual and threatening to make public statements about them in order to induce payment of money is extortion pursuant to California Penal Code 518 and 519. The statement by Kebe's representative that the interview would be published as Hart did not constitute extortion as defined by the California statute as directed and proximate result of the acts described above. Plaintiffs have been damaged in the amount to be proven at trial. The threats were done with oppression, fraud, and malice with the intent of depriving plaintiff Hart of his personal liberty, property, or legal rights, and otherwise causing injury. Such actions were despicable conduct that subjected plaintiff to unjust hardship in conscious disregard of plaintiff's right. Now, hey, I appreciate it. What's going on, sis? I hope you had a happy holiday season as well. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, y'all definitely hit the like button. And if y'all getting any value out of this, hit the subscribe button. I know y'all get tired of me saying that, but it'll definitely help out the channel. And hey, I'm a debt-free dad. It's free. I ain't gonna tell you nothing, but hey, if you got something out of it, definitely hit the subscribe, like, bell notification. All right. So that's kind of where everything is. Now let's kind of backtrack because I didn't want to play the whole Tasha K interview, but we're gonna jump back into that. But let's talk about what allegations were made in the video. Video link is in the chat. One allegation was that the brother has a gambling problem. Okay. Gambling problem is an allegation. She said his game is poker. And at one point, I think it was something to the effect of the gambling debt had grown to an amount where he couldn't afford to pay his staff like 100% of their salaries. They had to do like 50% of their salaries, which I'm just saying that sounds far-fetched to me. Kevin Hart is worth a lot of money. And I don't know what his staff got paid, but I would be shocked if gambling allegations were true. I would be shocked to find out like, oh, he didn't have enough money to pay his staff. That strikes me as cap in my personal opinion. That's kind of my thought process on that. That's it. I don't imagine Tasha K paying her more than the NDA severance. Why would she risk it? I mean, I think that's a good point. That's what I want to know because I certainly doubt if she got 30 racks to do an interview. And that teaser only got 115,000 views, 120,000 views. It may hit 1 million, but I don't know. I don't know why she did it. It could be a clout thing. It could be she honestly believed she found a loophole with her legal expertise that could avoid the ramifications and consequences of the NDA. Or she could just believe like, yo, I'm gonna go on Tasha K and blow up. Then I'm gonna open my OnlyFans. I don't know. I'm just saying. Is sometimes people do things to disregard the consequences because they believe that it'll give them a certain amount of notoriety that they can monetize in some form on the back end. But I seriously doubt that. Yo, everything is good over here. I got all my old man gifts. At this age, I don't really want nothing. I got like an electric blanket, some new house shoes, some drawers, socks, like all the basic stuff. Because if it's something I want, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm never wait till Christmas. So hey, as you get older, you don't really give a damn about Christmas. You just want to make sure everybody else is straight. And that's kind of how the game went for us over the holidays. All right. Second cause of action, breach of contract. Breach of contract is essentially just saying that she breached her non-disclosure agreement, the confidentiality clause. Hart's payment of $90,000. We already talked about that. Shakes breached the NDA by disclosing information and or making allegations that would necessarily entail disclosure of information defined as confidential information under the NDA, including statements regarding personnel and employment matters at Heartbeat or other affiliated companies. Third cause of action, intentional interference with contractual relations against Tasha K. This is always the hey, boy, I'm up there. I get sleepy early. I fall asleep at movies. It is what it is. Hey, I like my old gifts. Hey, house shoes, like if somebody got a pair of house shoes that last longer than like a year, like they're gonna have no arch on the no arch side of the game. Because house shoes, them joints, hey, that memory foam, that joint loses its memoryness after about 9 to 12 months. Third cause of action, essentially tortious interference with the contract. This is always the big money allegation that someone who has something to lose should include in a civil case. Because of this disclosure, the other thing outside of the gambling was that he had his office allegedly set up so that he could clap IG models or whoever on the low. It had a shower set up in there and all of these other things. That's the other allegation. So let's put that in context. Kevin Hart, even though he had issues in the past with infidelity, I think he generally has a pretty wholesome brand. And the argument here with tortious interference with a contract is, you putting out this information that may be true or false, no matter what. He used both, whether or not false or true, he covered his bases, which was a smart way to write it up. You putting this out there is interfering with my brand and causing me to lose money. So what he's going to have to show here is that this information got put out. Because this information got put out, I lost. DraftKings didn't want to do business with me. I like telling people that they should gamble on sports. I make a lot of money from it. DraftKings said, we're going to put your contract on pause until all of this Tasha K allegations. That would be something that would support tortious interference with the contract. At the time of the interview, Kebe was aware that plaintiffs and Shakes were party to an NDA. After the interview, Kebe was further advised that plaintiff Shakes were party to an NDA. Despite being fully aware of the contractual relationship, i.e. NDA, Tasha K published an interview after undertaking the independently wrongful conduct of making an extortionate threat described herein. As a direct and proximate cause of the conduct, plaintiffs have suffered damages in the amount, according to proof, including without limitation, not less than $90,000. Hart paid as consideration under the NDA. All right, so he didn't appear to lose on this any real business from the disclosure of this. I mean, the clip, like I said, 120,000 people watched it. This dude got gazillions of fans out there. He didn't lose any prospective business. So the losses he is saying here are the $90,000 that he paid out over the 3-year period. Well, that he still was set to pay out over the 3-year period because she stopped working in 2022. So she probably got a payment in 2022, got another one in 2023, and they're going to get the next one in 2024. So the only losses he's saying he lost at this point is the $90,000 under the NDA. Now, invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts, okay? We're going to talk about that one, and the last one is defamation. Now, defamation is easy. Defamation, it can be written or verbal, libel, or slander, depending on what it is. We all know defamation, you say something that's false about a person and that person suffers some types of damages. Here, the damages are the 90 racks he paid out, or if he potentially loses a contract, right? But think about this, because these two causes of actions are in conflict with one another. Defamation says that you're lying on me. You're disclosing something that is false, right? But then when we scroll up and we look at public disclosure of private facts, okay? A public disclosure of private fact. In the interview, defendant disclosed purported private facts regarding Hart, his family members, Heartbeat employees. The interview now, because defamation, someone is disclosing something that's false. Public disclosure of private facts, someone is disclosing something that's true. So you see how those two conflict. So when I read the article, I was like, he's suing for defamation and public disclosure of private facts. Defamation is you saying you're putting out something that's false. Public disclosure of private facts says you're putting out something that's true. What is what? Does he break it down in here? Let's see. Some of the matters Sheikh purported to disclose suggest private facts, including but not limited to statements regarding personal relationships affecting the employment status of personnel. The publication of such facts would be offensive and objectionable to a reasonable person. The purported private facts published during the interview are not legitimate public concern. I don't know how I like that. I mean, defendants' action in publishing private facts regarding plaintiff were done with oppression, fraud, and malice with the intent of depriving plaintiff of their personal liberty, blah, blah, blah. I don't like, this is just me. I think you should have picked one and stuck with it. I don't like the complaint. I probably wouldn't have recommended drafting or advised to draft the complaint where I'm suing one person for defamation, saying you're putting out falsehoods about me. But in that same complaint, I'm suing you for public disclosure of private facts. You're putting out truthful facts about me. I just don't like to have those two conflicting legal causes of actions there because it's going to be problematic. If it were me, I would have been like, look here. I'd have gave this the speech I always give to clients when they got to tell the truth. There's only two people in this world that you got to tell the truth to. And it's not your spouse. It's not your pastor. It's not if you want to go into give a confessional. It's your doctor and your lawyer. Those are the only two people who can't help you if you don't tell them what's really going on, what the facts are. I cleaned that up. Trust me. It's actually a lot more disgusting and vulgar than that, but I'm going to give y'all the clean version of how I give that story. I would have probably had to sit down with my client and say, look, one is saying they're putting out false information. One is saying they're putting out truthful information. Unless you want to specifically articulate what was truthful that was disclosed and what was false that was disclosed, I think you should pick one. If it's actually false, we're going to roll with the defamation. If it's actually true, we're going to roll with public disclosure of private facts. Now, I know if it was, he's alleged to clapping IG models. I know that's not going to go over smooth or won't go over smooth at home, but I think that that's a conversation that the attorney could clear up. I think it's something that could be explained like, yo, there's two conflicting things here. We got to make a choice of which one we're going to put in. Public disclosure of private facts, in my opinion, I think is a little bit more all-encompassing. That way, because if it's just defamation, if they could prove that it's true, it's not defamation. You got to prove that it's actually public disclosure of private facts. You just have to disclose that you just have to prove that you told something that was true. You can prove if it was true, like, yeah, I don't want to admit this, but yeah, allegedly, yeah. Let's just say, for example, even though these are allegations, hey, I did clap up the IG model in my office, but that was a public disclosure of a private fact, and you disclosed it. She's immediately guilty of that. There's nothing else that got to be proven. Now, shit may not go so sweet at home for him, but hey, that's Kevin Hart. He got a bag. I'm sure he could figure out how to work all of that stuff out. So those are the only things, too, that I think were a little bit interesting. Public disclosure of private facts and the defamation. They kind of in conflict. I would have picked one, especially since it's not detailed here. All right, prayer. This is what they're asking for. $90,000, first cause of action, jurisdictional minimum for this court, compensatory damages according to proof, punitive damages as allowed by law. Most states, I didn't look it up in California, punitive damages can be, most states, some states have a limited amount, some states have 3 times the amount of actual damages. So if this is a 3-time state, he's suing for $90,000, he want to put a multiplier on that, 9 times 3, that's what he'd be looking at if he wanted to go that route. Second cause of action, the breach of contract, the $90,000 that he lost from the $30,000 a year payment, attorney fees, and the attorney fees is going to be way more than $90,000. Intentional infliction of intentional interference, tortious interference of a contract, 90 racks, punitive damages as allowed by law. fourth cause of action, compensatory damages. Like, and even with this compensatory damages for invasion of privacy, public disclosure of private facts, you're going to have to show, like, hey, she disclosed this information. I was traumatized. It got me and my wife out of a space because my wife thinking I'm out here living crazy. Like, it is I don't know. That's interesting. I see why they put both in, but I don't know if I necessarily would have did that. It just kind of depends on, if I know whether my client did these things or didn't, you know what I mean? But hey, just allegations at this point. Fifth cause, defamation, attorney fees, any relief that the court may deem proper, blah, blah, blah. So, that is where we are at with this case. Tasha K, is she going to file a complaint? She probably, an answer to the complaint. She probably should file an answer to the complaint because you got to defend yourself. If you don't file an answer, don't respond, you could potentially get a default judgment, and that would be terrible. I don't know how she's going financially, man. Defending all this fucking litigation and anticipated litigation against guys who got endless, like Will Smith bag if they want to bring a lawsuit, Kevin Hart bag bring a lawsuit. Man, I know, like, I've been an attorney where I'm engaged in a lawsuit against a pharmaceutical company who got 3 high-powered law firms, and they'll be like, you know what? They don't got that many lawyers over there. Let's bombard them with paperwork. Like, that's kind of how the games go. Like, her being able to find an attorney, she's probably going to need a different attorney on each case. Well, most of them are probably going to be filed out of California, I'm thinking. But that shit is a mess. It's financially going to hurt her. But, hey, she can try to, avoid judgments, I think is what she's doing in the Cardi B case. But y'all let me know y'all take on these allegations. I'm gonna be honest, like I said at the beginning of this, I think Tasha K has a very interesting and entertainment presentation of facts. I think the way that she gets her information is just going to put her into so much legal exposure is going to be a problem. And I'm just be honest, like, I'm surprised she's still on YouTube. like before all this stuff, like, I already know, like if I'm Kevin Hart, I'm like, look, if y'all don't do something about this, I'm taking all my shit off YouTube. I'm calling all my people, and we're gonna take our stuff. You know how many views Kevin Hart get with the LOL network and all of his little stuff, Heartbeat Productions? Like, I'm shocked that she's still monetized on YouTube. So I mean, I don't know. I think that I don't know how the hell that's possible. When there's all of these allegations related to the truthfulness of it. But I put her out of business. Yeah, man. And all she's gonna have is that Patreon. And it's crazy because she actually is entertaining enough where she can just put out stuff that's already confirmed by the media. Like, literally, if I were like, you don't want to mess up the bag further. All you got to do, go to the Shade Room. What, Media Takeout, is that still a thing? Vlad TV. Wherever you want to find the latest and greatest in urban news and scandals, pull up those things and just talk about them after they're published in the media. Once you do that, you're already covered because you're taking it from a third source. Then you can get your folks to do the interview. I get it. You want to have the latest and greatest breaking news, but that shit is going to cost you in the long run. And that video, how many views that video had? Let me see. How many views is that video got? All right, this video was posted 6 days ago, and it got 117,000 views over 6 days, and she got 1.1 million subscribers. So, like, I'm just gonna be honest, like, this clip didn't take off and slap the way she probably expected it to take off. You know what I mean? You got 1.1 million and you're known for making that type of content. It didn't even slap and take off the way she expected it to take off. So I'm sure the money around that video ain't even worth the amount of legal fees you're going to have to fucking pay to go through this drama. But hey, that's just me being rational about shit. Tasha K ain't gonna listen to my black ass. Tasha does a lot, but I think she was framed by her old assistant. I refuse to believe that she threatened the man to pay her. How? the question would be, and that's fair because you know the only people who can fuck with you are people who are close to you. And the ex-assistant, as we can see by the people she got on your show, ex-assistants ain't shit. That's hilarious. Tasha K is framed by an old assistant, and she got everybody old assistant telling all their tea on their show. That's crazy. Ex-assistants ain't shit, man. I'm gonna get me a. You know who ain't telling? Like old white women. I'm gonna get an old. All my assistants gonna be like 70. I'm like Miss Jury. Come on, Miss Jury. Yeah, Miss Jury. Hey, here goes Severance. Miss Jury ain't gonna spill no beans or none of that. But that's crazy. An old assistant would have access. The only thing I would say is I would need to know how old or how long ago did that relationship sever. Because if the relationship just severed in like, I don't know, September or October, that old assistant may have been privy to this information and everything that was coming out. But if that old assistant, that relationship severed 8 months ago, how would that old assistant still know what she had from a content standpoint playing? Somebody inside could have told her, you know, you work places, you still got people who work there who give you the inside scoop. That's gonna be the challenging part from a fact filing standpoint is how an unnamed third party call, what evidence do you have aside from that person saying that they're affiliated? What evidence do you have that person was in fact affiliated with Tasha K? The only thing that I saw from that complaint where he cited the 206 mark. Let's see what she said at 206. Because he cited, it says something like, at that 206 mark, she said, if you don't do the interview or something, you have to pay up. What does her husband have to say about her jacking at the bag? I don't know, man. Apparently nothing. Oh, she fired her. Oh, so yeah. Okay. So what husband got to say about it? I don't know. Apparently not nothing. Or she probably not listening to him. I don't know. But I'll tell you right now, if you get some good YouTube money, I'm gonna look at Mrs. DFD. You gotta stop opening us up to litigation. Right? We ain't gonna fuck up this bag. That would be the conversation I would have. You can talk about whoever the hell you want after it's already been published by Media Takeout. Because you know they first with everything. And so now that makes sense. Tasha fired her assistant within the last month. So I think what Tasha learned from that and her guest is that ex-assistants ain't shit, boy. They ain't worth a damn. Like, get an artificial intelligent virtual assistant because these real life ones are the worst. But I think that's a fact that could help her. Ex-assistant would be privy to it, would know what's going on, would know that the interview was coming down the pipe. Tasha trying to pay that Cardi B $4 million. Yeah, Cardi B was wilding though. Cardi B said she was like, "Oh, I think I'm gonna let it go because you know she a black woman," and I was like, "Cardi B, you stupid as hell." That would be like your kids do something stupid, you discipline them. Like, you know, you can't go to the party because you yelled at your mother and pushed her down the steps. Then the day of the party, you're like, you know what? I know it's a party, but you really don't need to miss this one. Your mother leg a hill. That's an extreme example, but Cardi was thinking about letting her off the hook, which I think was crazy. But it's going to be hard for Kevin Hart to find evidence that unidentified party who said they were with Tasha K was in fact actually with Tasha K. And that's a great point. If I'm Tasha K, my argument is like, yo, I get rid of people all the time. Like, you know, you see how your assistant up here talking shit about you? My assistant's probably up here talking shit about me too. I didn't do anything like that. You can't connect that person to me as a representative of my brand, my company, myself. And Kevin Hart cited the 206 mark in the interview. Let me see. What was the 206 mark? He said that she said something about when people don't pay. That's 147. Let's see. Let's pause it here. Hey. All right, I paused it right when they had a picture of the IG model pop up there. And now I'm like, now I'm like, I don't know. Hey, what's good, brother? The Financial Rebel. Y'all need to check that out. Check my guy channel out, Kamari Ellis, dope channel, who's actually a professional in the finance space, so you know, hey, he actually could give you some game on how things would go. Imagine the PR that would be generated from that. That's a fact. I want to pull up this real quick so we can see what Kevin Hart cited in this complaint as it relates to Tasha K talking about if someone doesn't pay up, we got to put out the interview. He cited the 206 mark, so I went to the 206 mark of that video because I need to see what he exactly was talking about. Hey, I don't know. I may need to look at that picture of the IG model and his Mrs. Hart again, because that picture don't look like the same girl who was up there before. But I digress. Let's see what was said at the 206 mark and if that would be a sufficient basis as evidence of, hey, this was someone who was affiliated with Tasha K who put this out.
Photo.
Right, Nico, I love you. I'm not gonna speak bad on her.
Aniko's pretty.
Aniko's my girl.
I'm gonna let the winos judge. I'm gonna put up a side by side. See a bitch and she on it.
Like Kevin is cheating on you with the girl named.
Let me see. Maybe he's talking about. I think it was right here. They were talking about a previous extortion attempt. Let me see.
My car, because I heard him say that Kevin's best friend JT Jackson had set him up
in exchange for millions of dollars.
All the charges were dropped against JT, but they weren't dropped against Kevin.
They redug up, I guess, old LGBTQ jokes or something.
Correct.
That he was saying on Twitter, and they wanted him to apologize, and he said, "Fuck you."
Haley is his publicist, so she called me. She was just like, "Hey, Miesha, have you spoken to Kevin?" I was like, "No." I was like, "Dave Becky just called me, his manager. Why?" And then she was like, "The whole Oscar."
I'm trying to see if she made the comment that he stated in the
thing. Kevin needs to say an apology. He's about to lose Nike.
The first scandal was with the first baby.
Correct.
The one in Vegas.
Yes.
So these other scandals.
It's another one in the office.
She pregnant again.
Right. They talking about that we alluded to earlier.
Correct. With her second baby.
And he's still leaving semen stains all over the counter.
Oh my God.
Yes. Correct.
And showering and then going home. Like
I told Aniko, like
they had a shower in his office.
Kevin is cheating on you with a girl named Mix Norgan. She's his flight attendant. She's on his planes.
Does Kevin have a gambling problem or something?
Nah, I don't see.
He gambled y'all money away and had to pay.
Yes. Well, exactly. It was Leland. Leland was with our money. But I said, I'm here.
Every day.
Yeah, I don't see what he's talking about. I just wanted to pause it on the IG model picture again. Yeah, I don't see what he's talking about. I don't think what he alleged in that complaint would be sufficient facts to prove that unidentified party was in fact associated with Tasha K. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this in the comments. Tasha K is gonna put herself in a financial hole that is just no way in hell that she can get out of it. Like now you're talking about like moving and putting everything in your mama name. Like it's just gonna be ridiculous because all these judgments, you can't ever buy shit because they're gonna attach the judgment to your property and then they'll have a lien interest in your property. It's gonna be a hot mess. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like talking about current events that's already put out by the media, yeah, you might get some less views, but getting these juicy ass stories, putting out something like this that's opening you up to litigation, and the clip only got 117,000 views. I don't know if that money wise, mathematical wise, just makes sense. But that's it. There's a cost for everything you do. That's why when DFD talk about somebody on here, I'm using my allegedly, and I'm looking at the facts because y'all ain't gonna bring no lawsuit against me for no stupid shit. I ain't got Kevin Hart money, so if somebody say something bad about me, they just gonna have to say it because I ain't got no money to be suing no random people for no defamation. I'm just be like, hey, he said what he said is a lie. He capped. Then I'm gonna put on my blue hat and keep doing what I'm doing. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. If y'all enjoyed this video, check out the content on the screen. There's going to be more stuff related to finance. And I think either tomorrow I might do Saturday, but we're going to talk about the Cash App finesse that's going around. And I know, and I'm only talking about it because I saw somebody on my timeline put up like, yo, I found a glitch in Cash App. if y'all trying to get that bag, hit me up. And you know, I saw that and I was like, what? I did a double take. I was like, okay, that sounds shady as hell. So I was like, what's the Cash App finesse? I need to learn it. And once I found out what it was I'll say it's not as clever as some of the other scams I talked about. And it's actually people who fall for it, I think, I don't know. Sometimes people who fall for scams got to take a little bit of accountability. If you fall for a Cash App scam, you probably got to take about 70% of the accountability, because once I saw what they were doing, I was like, these ain't no damn rocket science that's coming up with some complex algorithm to defraud some hedge fund on the New York Stock Exchange or some shit like that. This is some blue collar rapper scams that's probably not that bright, but we're going to talk about it probably tomorrow. Y'all take care. Have a good one. Be blessed. Peace.